This was really open at the beginning, but they put no trespassing now. And now we're kind of concerned, like to see maybe the animals are struggling, they're dying. There's some mysterious secret behind it that we have to, check it out to see what happens.
And at this point, you've got a life support system on its last leg, and the entirety of the crew in there are doing everything they can, rather than trying to improve conditions, just trying to keep things from collapsing. This is, at the end of the day, their legacy, and that's where really the money should be going, and that's where the decisions ultimately should be made to benefit them.
So it's sad, it's depressing, and it's time for these animals to be free. I mean, do something for them, to let them free, yeah.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Niagara Falls, Ontario. And yes, everybody loves Marineland. Well, I would say not everybody. And we're here to do a follow-up on the story we brought you last month about this theme park in decline. For all intents and purposes, it looks like they are selling everything off piecemeal, the land, the thrill rides, and so on. But in the meantime, what about the animals? And folks, I am here with Phil Demers. He is a former whale trainer right here at the park when it was in its glory days. He's now a whistleblower. And Phil, I want to thank you so much for joining us. As you can see, we have our beautiful Jumbotron equipped truck. We're flagging what's happening in Marineland right now with the remaining livestock. It ranges from elk and deer to belugas and dolphins. And I got to tell you, we right off the bat, you looked at the data on our truck, the death count for the belugas being at 18. You said it's more like 30. Phil, what is going on behind this fencing, which, by the way, wasn't erected when we first came here in late July? What is going on with the poor remaining animals that remain?
What you're witnessing here is the way Marineland operates, always based on deception and or silencing people or shutting them out. And this is precisely what you're witnessing. And that's exactly what's been going on since we became whistleblowers back in 2012. I was subsequently sued for $1.5 million for my advocacy. And throughout the 13 years of litigation that I did, they were always actually seeking speech limiting injunctions and or non-disparagement agreement. It was never about fact, truth, or anything like that. They were just trying to bankrupt me into silence.
Given what our drone footage captured, full disclosure, I'm not a marine mammal expert, but that water looked filthy. The tanks looked cramped for such giant marine mammals. That's the big concern right now. The dolphins and whales, especially, that remain, what kind of living conditions are they enduring right now?
So the life support system at Marineland has been failing for a long time, and when you put more load on it, it fails more. So at its peak, Marineland in 2020 had closer to in excess of 60 whales. That system that you're seeing there, some of them were built in the 60s, the stadium pool. Others were built in the late 90s into early 2000s. That's being Friendship Cove and Arctic Cove. Those sand filters have never been changed. The fact that these facilities are built in different eras mean they're not actually in line the way that a mechanic might turn around and do something, or rather an engineer would engineer certain things a certain way. That's not what's happened here. What's happened here is you've got patchwork and you've got improvisations, etc. And at this point, you've got a life support system on its last leg, and the entirety of the crew in there are doing everything they can, rather than trying to improve conditions, just trying to keep things from collapsing. So the rumor is, and it's quite credible, is there's a facility in China known as Chimelong Ocean Kingdom. That's where the beluga whales are destined to go, but they haven't got the place for them yet. And so it is a waiting game. China's willing to pay top dollars, and yet there's a host of facilities in the U.S. that are just as well, and frankly in better operating conditions and with greater animal protection oversight that would better accommodate these animals. Waiting is not an option. So this is why I'm encouraging, or rather trying to coerce the province to get in there, seize those animals, get a coalition of facilities in the U.S. where they can be accommodated for, and get them out of here. And right now, frankly, despite the fact that there's not a lot of security, it's the most secure it's actually been.
Who's in charge? John Haller passed away years ago. His wife did. One of his sons did. I believe there is a lawyer that is behind the scenes that is pulling the strings. Do you have any insight on that?
Correct. There is a soul controlling mind. He has been largely hidden from the public view. Now, that's not to say that he wasn't for a while in the newspapers, etc. But yes, there is a mind that's controlling what's going on over there. His name's Andrew Burns. I got a long history with him. But yeah, for all of the Holder family's faults, this is at the end of the day their legacy, and that's where really the money should be going, and that's where the decisions ultimately should be made to benefit them rather than the lawyer. But that I can tell over all these years, there's one benefactor to all of this, and that's the lawyer.
When are we going to have closure to this sad, declining story that once was Marineland?
So unfortunately, the only person that has the answer to that is Andrew Burns, because he's the one pulling the strings and making the decision. So why these animals are still there, inexplicable, inexcusable, but he has the answers. What I believe is going to happen is at some point the animals will be sold for top dollar, shipped out, and then this place will ultimately turn into some housing development, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing that the community frankly wants. We want a burgeoning, thriving entertainment place just without animals. It's what we were, as frankly, it's what people were asking for the evolution of Marineland to be. But it looks at this point like they're just tying a bow on the end of this thing, and it's going to be probably sooner than later entirely forgotten.
Wow. And another rumor we should lay to rest. You told me off camera, all this buzz about SeaWorld coming in and doing a big multi-million-dollar development. That's a pipe dream.
There's been so many rumors over the many decades. We've heard Canada's Wonderland, we've heard SeaWorld, we've heard a number of things. There's no truth to it whatsoever. And I've got I'm still in the industry for the most part. SeaWorld's not coming here. They don't want the animals. Frankly, if they don't want to import them from Canada into the U.S., then they're not going to make any investment here. And especially given the state of things, SeaWorld knows too much about Marineland to want anything to do with them.
Wow.
This was really open at the beginning, but they put no trespassing now, and now we're kind of concerned, like to see maybe the animals are struggling, they're dying, there's some mysterious secret behind it that we have to, check it out to see what happened. So it's sad, it's depressing, and it's time for these animals to be free. I mean, do something for them, to let them free, yeah.
We spoke to a whistleblower and a former whale trainer here at Marineland, and what he said is that they could sell off these animals faster, get them out of these conditions, but it looks like, allegedly, the people who are in control, they're waiting for the highest price, and they really don't care about the welfare of these animals. They want to get the biggest bang for their buck. I think that's wrong. I mean, if we were talking about thrill rides, that's inanimate objects, but these are beautiful marine animals.
I don't think it's right, whatever they're doing. I mean, if money is put before the life of these beautiful animals that all they know is love, I guess it's time for them to just rethink it. And I guess it's time for more people to come toward this and start like a real something to let these animals free. I mean, money doesn't have to be before then. They don't even know what's going on. We don't even know if they're starving, if they're dying, if there's somebody helping them. I guess it's time for them to be just like replacing a safe home or let them free, right? But do something,
Folks, I think in the final analysis, it is so sad to see what Marineland has descended into. And full disclosure, as a child, I used to come here. I used to love sitting in the front row. That was the splash zone when the orcas would jump out of the water. But children are naive, and I would like to think with the passage of time, I am a little wiser now. I realize that this is not a good place to keep these animals. In fact, it is perhaps a cruel place, and there shouldn't be facilities like this anymore. Right now, on a summer day like this one in yesteryear, what you would hear is the roar of roller coasters, punctuated by the laughter of children. And now, in its dying days, silence has taken lease at Marineland, albeit every so often the quiet is punctuated by the dying cries of marine mammal giants. For Rebel News, I am David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, I know you love it when Rebel News tells you the other side of the story, but the fact is we need your help. Unlike Mark Carney's trained SEALs, We do not receive a single dollar from the federal government, nor would we accept it if offered. If you can, please go to rebelfieldreports.com. That's rebelfieldreports.com. And if you're able to, kindly make a donation.